welcome to episode 25 of the These Little Hands podcast. My name is Millicent and I'm coming to you from Johannesburg, South Africa, where I live and work. Welcome to any new viewers and welcome to all returning viewers. I really appreciate you watching with me and listening to what I have to share. So today I'm only going to talk about knitting. Sometimes this is a sewing podcast, sometimes other crafts, but today it is just yarn and knitting and a little bit of crochet. So yes, let's get into the episode. Okay, so I have a lot to share with you today. So get comfortable, get your tea or coffee, and let's chat about yarn. And before I really get into everything, I just want to talk about a few administrative things that came up in the last episode. So some people commented below wanting to know how they can contact me. So below this video, there's a drop-down menu where there's the description of this episode. And in there, you can find a link to the Ravelry group of this podcast. Feel free to join the group on Ravelry, and there you will find all the show notes, links to everything I talk about, and also there's a link to my Instagram account. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can contact me on Instagram as well, or you can just comment below the video and I will reply to you that way. So feel free to do any of those options with regards to the podcast, and let's get into all the things I've been making. So I haven't recorded in about a month, and it was just a series of events. So I tried to record every 2 weeks, but then when I wanted to record, I had the flu, and then last weekend we were away. So here I am. I have quite a few finished objects, and I'm going to try and start in chronological order. If I look down, it's because I'm looking at my show notes, because I have so much to share with you that I don't want to miss anything. So the first thing I want to share with you, and that is also the title of this episode, is re-knitting. So there's two things that I've knit before that I am knit again for myself. So this is my void shawl, a pattern by Melanie Berg. So this shawl is knit out of Cowgirl Blues yarn in the merino double knit superwash in the rainforest colorway. So last year I knit this pattern as well, and if you go back quite a few episodes, I talk about what happened with that shawl, but the long and the short of it was it burned. So it is no longer with me. And I loved it so much, I really wanted to re-knit it. I want to apologize about the lighting. The sun keeps going behind the clouds, so the lighting keeps changing. But this is a beautiful rainforest green color. So I actually love this shawl more than I loved my previous one. So it worked out really well. The pattern calls for a worsted weight yarn, and this is actually a double knit, but it is fine. I used the needles that the pattern called for, which I think is a 4.5 millimeter needles. And initially I thought I was going to do it bigger than the pattern called for because I used thinner yarn, but I didn't. I did it exactly the same as what the pattern suggested. So yes, I am very happy with it. I've worn it a lot. It goes well with my wardrobe, and I am very, very happy with it. So the yarn looks like this. This is a different color, but this is the yarn, Cowgirl Blues. It is so soft and it blocked out so nicely. So this is my void shawl. Very, very happy with this. And this was part of my initial planning for the year as well. So I'm happy I was able to re-knit that one. And then I'm going to finish talking about all the re-knitting things. So the other thing I am re-knitting, I think I showed this in about my first or second episode that I recorded on this channel last year. I knit myself a sweater by Mari Wallen last year, or even can be longer ago. It's called the Hope Sweater, and it is from this book, Autumn Knits. And it looks like sorry, looks like this. So I knit this sweater and I loved it, but it got ink all over it of a pen. Pen exploded on it. So I had to throw it away because I couldn't get the ink out. So Jacqueline from the Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast is hosting a cal called the Brooklyn Knitfolk Hipster Cal. And the rules is that you are only allowed to knit something that has 30 or less projects on Ravelry. So I looked at quite a few patterns, and there's quite a few patterns that I like that has less than that on Ravelry. But in the end, I knew I wanted to re-knit this project, and I decided to go with that. So initially my color scheme was very similar to the color scheme used in the picture, and this time it's not at all, mostly because this is yarn I got on sale, and these were the colors that I could find. So this time it's a lot more pink and orange, but this is how far I am on the back. I'm a little bit more skilled than when I knit the previous one, so I made a few changes. Firstly, I did a tubular cast on, which leaves a very neat edge. And then this texture here is done with slip stitches. You can see at the back there. So it's not really color work because you slipped the stitches in between. And on my previous one, this piece, this whole color work section was quite tight, tighter than this piece. So what I did is I went up a needle size here. So I'm knitting this out of 4 millimeter needles, which is a size smaller than the pattern suggests as well. Then I'm knitting the color work section in 5.5 millimeters, and then this stockinette section in 5 millimeters, and then again here in 5.5, where there's slip stitches again. So this is the back. This is really flying off the needles. I'm pretty happy with my color choice. I went back and forth. I did knit it up to here, and then I ripped everything out, and I made the changes to the needle size, etc., because I was concerned that the other one was going to be too big on the suggested needle sizes. The yarn I'm using is African Expressions Harmony, a local South African dyer or yarn producer. It's 100% merino superwash, and all the information of the colors I'm using is on my project page. They don't have names, they just have numbers. So there are 50 grams each. This yarn is very slick. The balls fall apart in my bag, so it's a complete mess in my bag. And actually, this is not the best yarn to do color work in. For color work, you would actually want yarn that is non-superwash, so that it sort of blends together and that the yarns stick to each other. But I think it still works, and I am really enjoying it. It's going to be a real hipster sweater. So I'm hoping to finish the back today. And yes, so you can see a bit more of the detail there. I think I'm going to love wearing it. It is so soft, and it's nice to get a chance to do the same pattern again, because it's not something I do very often. So those are the two things that I'm actually re-knitting, and I have knitted before. Okay, let me see what is next. Oh, then I had a project that I never spoke about, and it wasn't in my plans, but about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I wanted to start knitting a shawl or anything basically. But all the patterns that I had in mind and all the yarn I had, etc., I didn't have the right needle size or I didn't have the right yarn. And so I decided to look in my stash, look what I have, look in my books, and see if I can match something up. So I have this yarn. It's a 4-ply cotton by Al in this very nice coral color. It's a little bit shiny, and I had quite a bit of this yarn. And I went through my books and I found this pattern. This is also designed by Mari Wallen. It's from one of the Rowan magazines, and I can't remember which one it is now. I'll put it below here or in the show notes. And this is a summer top, crop top. Sorry, I wanted to put it on for you, but it is too cold today. So I will, at some point when the weather is warmer, put it on and take proper pictures of it. So this knit up so fast and I love it. I really, really love it. The yarn that the pattern called for is a DK weight, and this is a 4-ply fingering weight. And the measurements of this sweater, or this, what would you call it, summer top, is quite a bit smaller than the measurements of the original pattern. So I knit the extras of the small size. I went down a needle size of what the pattern called for to accommodate the yarn. And I like it because it's quite drapey and flowy for summer. You knit the front and the back and then you just sew it together. The only thing I should have done that I didn't do, and I didn't want to rip it out, is I should have cast off the neck binding with a stretchy cast off, which I didn't do. So it's a little bit tight to get it over my head, which is a bit annoying. But I did do it here around the arms. You can see the arms are a little bit more stretchy. You knit the front and the back, and then you sew the shoulder seams together. You do the neck binding, and then you sew the sides together. This top took me literally just a week. But I really like it, and I entered it into the summer garment cull hosted by Opera Joe. So the deadline for that is the 1st of September, I think. So I finished that well in time. So that's really fun that I used my stash yarn to knit this. This whole top is about 3 centimeters smaller in circumference and 3 centimeters smaller in length, which is perfect because I actually wear a size extra small, and the Rowan books, they only start their sizing with a small. So I normally knit my garments smaller than the smallest size. So that works out really well for me. But I really like it and I love the color. I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this in spring. So that is my Soothe top. I am quickly going to pause here because my battery is dying. So I just want to plug my computer in and then I will continue. Okay, I'm back. Let me continue. Okay, so we spoke about the Soothe top. One thing I forgot to mention about the void shawl that I just want to share, which I definitely think is a must if you knit this pattern. In the pattern, she said that if you want this edge to be a little bit more stretchy or loose, you can add an additional yarn over at the beginning of the row and then you drop it on the next row. I'm not sure how to explain it. It's in the pattern. I didn't do it on my previous one, and this edge used to curl in a little bit more and it made it shorter. This time I did do it and it makes for a nice almost straight edge. So I definitely would suggest that adding that when you knit this pattern. Okay, so the next thing that's finished is my Glacier sweep shawl. This has been in my queue for quite some time and I bought this yarn specifically for this pattern. So it just came off the needle, off the blocking mat. I finished it about 2 weeks ago already, maybe just a week, but I haven't blocked it, so I blocked it yesterday. This is the Glacier Sweep pattern by Stephen West, and I knitted for the Stephen West Knit Along hosted by the Anxious Knitter. And the yarn is To Die For Creations in her charcoal color. So it's a very nice tonal grey, and there's sections of stockinette and garter stitch with short rows, and I bound off in this color, which was one of my Yarn Snob minis that I got in my socks box. I think the previous one, in the previous box. And that was my plan to use that one. So I haven't actually even worn this one because it just came off the needles, but it is really, really nice. This one is actually, it's not small as you can see, but it is actually almost 40 rows smaller than the pattern. So I just ran out of, I only had 2 skeins of the grey, and you actually need 3. So here in this last section, it's supposed to be a big section. And I just knit until I ran out of yarn, and then I cast off, which is something you can do with a lot of shawls. But I really like it. I actually, I'm very happy. I was very intrigued by the texture of the shawl, and I'm really happy with the result. So yes, I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this. It's really pretty. I blocked it out quite big, as you can see, but the shawl, because of all the eyelets, it's very drapey, which is really nice. So yes, and this is the way I would wear it. Probably wear it like that. So I can actually keep it on. So this is my Glacier Sweep. And I think that is all my finished objects. Yes. So I have a few more things to speak about. I almost want to call it half finished objects, but it's a little more than half. So last weekend we went away with I mean my boyfriend and I. And I wanted to take knitting with that wasn't complicated. So I only had my colorwork sweater on the needles, which was a bit hectic, and then I have my other Watkins sweater that I haven't shown in a while because I'm struggling with the sleeves. I can't find the right needle size to knit the sleeves, so I'm still working on that. And I started these socks quite a while ago, and I used the Sockmatician's Toe Up sock recipe, but I made a mistake and I ripped everything out. So then I didn't want to take a pattern with me, and I didn't want to concentrate on what I'm doing. So from all the podcasts that I watch, I know that you can knit socks top down, and you can do after 4 heels. So I took my sock knitting needles and this spool of sock yarn. This is a Regia colorway, and it's one of the Cave Facet colors. It's like blue and yellow and grey. I must say I like the colors more in the ball than I actually like them in the sock, but anyway, that's fine. So I just knit 16 rounds of rib, 2x2 rib. I used magic loop on 2.25 needles, and I'm using Knit Pro Zing needles, and 16 rows of 2x2 rib, and then I just knit, and to be honest, I sort of guessed how long they should be. I didn't have a plan, and then I did a toe decrease that I'm not even sure what it's called. I'm not an expert sock knitter at all, so I don't know what I'm doing. So what I need to do now is I need to cut in after thought heels. I have no idea how to do it. I've never done it before, but I have both socks. Both tubes are done. And yes, this one is inside out because I'm weaving in the ends. I think I would actually be able to get myself a pair of socks out of 50 grams of yarn, because this is just over 50 grams, and I think they are going to be quite long. I have small feet, so I think the heel is going to go about there, and then the cuff is quite long. So if I knit contrast heels, or if I make shorter socks, I would be able to get a pair of socks out of 50 grams of yarn. But that is my sock. So yes, I'm a little bit scared to cut in the afterthought heels. I just want to see, I think I might have the label of the yarn still to show you. No, but it is on my Ravelry project page. So this is going to be afterthought heels. Yes, this is a very nice quick knit, and I really enjoyed it because it's just go, go, go. So those are my socks. And then I cast on a new pair of socks for somebody who's very knitworthy but wears a very large size. So I haven't had the courage to knit socks for him yet. But I got this yarn, which is also red, yeah? And it's quite nice. It's navy, and it's going to knit up in micro stripes. And now I'm again using the Sock Matician's Sew Up Sock recipe that I knit for my first ever socks. So this is going to be my third ever pair of socks. And I just finished the toe. And I just want to show you the difference. Like, it's like half my foot. This is my foot and this is his foot. So I knit my socks on 56 stitches. His socks is on 74 stitches, and I'm hoping it will fit. So we will see. I think with his socks I will have to knit up the entire 50-gram ball of yarn per sock. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm enjoying the yarn, and I've always wanted to knit him something. And a sweater is out of the question because he is a very tall guy. So that would take me forever. But yes, this is my socks for Yaku. And I just started it yesterday. So I've been busy. Okay, 2 more things. And then I'm going to love and leave you. The second last thing is not something I can talk in too much detail about, but it has something to do with this. Now, those of you who have watched before should be really proud of me because I have never ever knit a gauge swatch. This is my very first time. So this is knit out of the merino double knit, the same yarn that I knit my void shawl out of, and my Greenwich sweater that I showed in the previous episode, I think. And the reason why I have these gauge swatches is because I'm doing a test knit for Renee, I think it's Renee Callahan. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce her surname, but for the East London Knit podcast, she's coming out with a sweater design, and I am test knitting for her. And I have this yarn in my stash, so it's the Cowgirl Blues. I bought it for a different sweater, actually for the Mayfair sweater, but I'm not convinced it's the right colors. Oh, sorry, I just want to see where the other one is. No, I can't find it. I have 3 colors. So I have this silvery grey, I think it's called Sable, and then the faded rose, and then I have a masala red color. So the sweater takes 2 or 3 colors. And depending on the design, I will choose my colors. I'm hoping that I got gauge. I just got them off the blocking mat, so I need to measure them. This one is a 4mm needle, and this is 4.5. It's probably going to be this one. And if this one is not right, then I will have to use thicker yarn for the test knit, but I'm quite excited about it. Yes, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't know how much I will be able to share of it, but I'll talk about it as I go, and I will only probably be able to share the finished object with you when the pattern is released, which would be in October. I think the deadline is the 1st of October, so it's not that long to go. And that is that one. And then the last thing I want to show you, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this. And I don't actually crochet. But the other day I was annoyed with my storage space that was full of little bits of yarn, etc., etc. And I think I've actually spoken about me not wanting to knit a scrappy yarn blanket because I use my scraps in projects. But then this happened. So that weekend that I was sick, this happened. So I cast off this shawl, and with that yarn I chained and chained and chained and chained and chained. I can't even show the whole thing. So it's quite large, and that is where I am. So I'm using mostly fingering weight scraps. I am using DK weight in between, but I'm not using the DK weight on the edge so that the edge remains semi-straight. It doesn't look like it now, but it is semi-straight. And my other rule is that I can't do, if I have a bigger scrap, I can't do more than 3 rows of one color. So then I would stop. But it's really nice. Like this is my socks that I just finished. This is actually woolen wine yarns that I got a little sample of. Yeah, so some of them are mini skeins and not actually scraps, but most of it is scraps that I've used in projects. And I love it. So there we go. And that has been a very nice project. So if you have scraps lying around and you don't know what to do with it, or you want to swap, please contact me. Then we can swap out mini skeins. But yes, and it's actually quite large already. I can't believe how much it grew. So this is my scrappy yarn blanket. At the moment I'm pausing it because the scraps that I have at the moment are all very pink, and I don't want it to be like a block of one color. I want it to be different colors. So I've used up quite a bit of my scraps. I would say about 80% for this, and then so now I can knit a bit more and then have some more scraps. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. It was actually not as long as I thought it was going to be. I have no acquisitions. I actually am waiting for 3 parcels in the post. One is my last socks box subscription. I was hoping I would have it by today, but I don't have it. And then I have the 2 prizes that I won for the knit-alongs, which hasn't arrived yet. So will have to go to the post office and follow up on that, because I think there might be a delay somewhere there. And then hopefully I can share that with you next time. Enjoy your day, and I hope you feel inspired. Oh, you know what? Before I go, this is here for a reason. So I haven't sewn in a long time, but I just quickly wanted to share with you that summer is on its way and I am inspired. So I got a few fabrics. I've got this one, which you can't see, but it is navy, and I'm planning to make a shirt dress out of this one. Then I have this beautiful, it's like a gauze. I don't want to open it now completely, but it's a tulle with this embroidery roses on it. And this is very on trend. So I'm hoping to make a sheer top of some sort with this. I have this beautiful rosy fabric. I'm planning to make a pencil skirt out of this that I can wear with a white shirt for a wedding that we're going to in October. And then I also have this beautiful fabric, which I'm planning to make a dress out of. So hopefully there will soon be a sewing episode. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to you. Thank you for watching, and I love sharing my project with you. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye.